Brent, after what we saw on New Year's Eve, Cincinnati aside, because again, that was anticipated to a certain extent, and congratulations to them for a fine season. And they held it in check, and they certainly didn't get gashed or embarrassed in that game. But focusing more on the Michigan-Georgia theme and Alabama thrown in as well now, much is made of the talent evaluations, and you hit on this off the top of this segment in regards to Alabama and Georgia being at the top of the 247 Sports team talent rankings. So anybody can go there. They can look up team talent rankings, and it just doesn't measure one recruiting class. It takes the entire roster into account. Michigan's down at 15. And of course, SEC detractors or just college football fans that are looking for a different game once we get to the final will, of course, be searching for somebody out there that could possibly fit the bill. And I don't really see that team. If you just believe in the talent rankings, then Ohio State's the only team in the country that has a roster that rates with them. They actually have a couple more 5 stars than Alabama, but it's Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State's in that third position, and we know what roster they have. But, you know, they made for an exciting Rose Bowl, but I just don't think that they quite had the team this year to compete with those two. And other than that, I don't know where we would find a team to compete with Georgia and Alabama.
I think Clemson is still up there to a degree. Now, I know that Uiagalelei did not have the year he wanted to. Dr. Pepper sure didn't know that he didn't have the year he wanted to. But I still think it's not like they quit knowing how to play football with Dabo Swinney and that staff. But look, your point, and I go back with this, something Tom Luginbill said about 3 years ago, who is with ESPN and does a really good job with their recruiting and analysis of games. Tom said, and he named off Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, and Ohio State as the teams that made an ultimate commitment to college football. And what he meant by that is that from your president down to your basically janitorial staff, that everybody has bought in for football. And the thing that you find too is when that happens, it also helps some of your other sports. To your point about recruiting, look, I know for right now that Texas A&M, Alabama, and Georgia are the top 3. A&M is number 1 in a lot of the. I know they're number 1 in all 3, and Alabama, I believe, is number 1 in rivals. But look, put them in a hat and shake it up, and you're going to pull out one of those 3. And the thing about Alabama and Georgia is Bama and Georgia, the only 2 teams in America over the last 5 years that have had a consistent top 5 recruiting class. So that really tells you what you need to know in that they both basically have the best players in the nation. And Mark, I'll say this, in looking at the Alabama roster of starters against Cincinnati, and this may not go over well against Alabama's opponents and their fans, this Bama team next year is going to be much better than it is this year, frankly. But doesn't mean they'll win the championship. It just means that I think they won't have the struggles they did this year. But, Mark, could we say in fairness that the struggles Bama had against Florida, Arkansas, Tennessee, Auburn, and LSU has probably made them the team they are right now?
Yeah, I believe so. It's just been a masterful head coaching job and coaching staff job by Alabama once again, starting with Nick Saban. It's just it is just a bit ridiculous what they're able to do there.